right, you want to know one of the things I love about secondary progressions? Progressions show the evolvement of your soul, the advancement of who you are. Very different from transits, which transits are the real-time planetary activity that's happening up there, right, in the sky. They're affecting us personally, of course. Transits kind of relate to everyone in the sense of when Venus is in Aries, everyone's experiencing Venus in Aries. When Mercury's retrograde, everyone's experiencing Mercury retrograde. When the moon's in Sag, everyone's experiencing the moon in Sag, right? Transits are happening exactly at the same time. Everywhere in the world, we're all experiencing it at the same moment. But secondary progressions are really personal to us. They're unique to our birth chart. And this is why secondary progressions are so personal. They're not so much about a collective real-time activity. It's showing what is happening in the evolvement of who you are, how you feel, the themes you're going through in your life. And I'm going to be going into the top 5 things that you need to look out for when you're predicting your own life using secondary progressions. If you don't know who I am, hello, I'm Helena, and I am a traveling astrocartographer going around the world. Currently, I'm in Paris here, as I live in France, and I teach on astrocartography, locational astrology, and timing techniques, how to better predict your own life. And in my flagship timing course, Trust Your Timeline, I go very in-depth on all of this. First thing that you need to look out for when you're looking at your secondary progressed chart is your progressed moon. This is the number one thing that you want to look at when you're first getting started, because your progressed moon moves very quickly. And just like how we have the moon changing signs, zodiac signs, every 2.5 days, our progressed moon stays in a specific zodiac sign for every 2.5 years. Because with progressions, it's 1 day for 1 year. So for 2.5 years, your progressed moon is in a certain zodiac sign. And this really colors the flavor of how you wish to experience life, what you need for safety, contentment, and nourishment, and what your emotional needs and desires are. I'll give you an example. Let's say your progressed moon leaves the sign of Leo and enters Virgo. What do you think is going to be happening for you for those 2.5 years on a symbolic level, energetically? What do you think you're going to be more focused on? Well, Leo being the performer, the entertainer, the creative, self-expressed, authentic, fun-loving, playful, childlike energy, right? We go from that to Virgo. Virgo is analytical. Virgo is looking at the details, perfectionistic, critical. So the whole vibe and tone of what you're seeking in your life is kind of going through a shift for 2.5 years. Here's an example in my own personal life. When my progressed moon left Virgo, which was 2.5 years of intense study, research, building my first astrocartography course, doing all of my research and study with working with all of my clients. When I went from that phase of my life to now, which my progressed moon's now in Libra, it's all about connecting with people, collaboration, wanting to travel to go see my friends. I desire to connect and relate to people. And that all shifted for me when my progressed moon left Virgo and entered Libra. And I even started feeling it a little bit before too, when my progressed moon was at the last final degrees of Virgo. There was just this shift in energy of what I wanted. And now so much of my focus is about collaboration, having other astrologers and people come on my podcast, being able to connect and relate to other astrologers and make more friends in the astrology community. This has all been a theme that started for me when my progressed moon entered Libra. The second thing that you want to look for in your progressions is the lunar phase that you're in, the progressed lunar phase. This progressed lunar phase is showing you your timeline and where you're at in your life. Are you waxing and building up in energy and momentum in your career and life direction? Or are you at the peak of luminosity and height of your career? Or are you winding down in the waning cycle of your progressed lunar phase? This phase that you're in is super important and shows so much of the bigger picture that's happening. If you're just using transits, you've got to add your progressed lunar phase. It is so important and it is so spot on. So make sure you're pulling up your progressed lunar phase, and you can use this, and you can find this for free on like AstroSeek or astro.com. You can find this for free online. But my software that I love and use and recommend for all of these different timing techniques is Astro Gold. It's my favorite Mac software for astrology, and you can use my code Helena15 for 15% off checkout if you ever wanted to get my favorite software for Mac. Here's an example. Let's say you want to travel somewhere and you notice that your progressed moon is transiting over your Venus. When the progressed moon is transiting over your Venus, that might be a really nice time to go visit your Venus line on your astrocartography map. Same with other planets as well. Let's say your progressed Venus is transiting over your natal Jupiter. That would be a really fun time to go to a Jupiter line when that progressed Venus is transiting over your Jupiter. And you can do this with all of the inner planets: the Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. When those 5 personal traditional planets are progressing over a planet in your birth chart, definitely consider taking a trip during that specific time. It's a really activated place of potential opportunity and possibilities when you go to these astrocartography lines at those specific times. Secondary progressions, something to definitely keep in mind. Progressed moon is going to tell you a lot. What cycle of life are you in? Are you building up? Are you winding down? Are you getting the recognition? Are you getting the activity in your career, in your goals, and what you're going after, right? Are you feeling like you're building up to something and taking a lot of external massive action? Or are you in a time of surrender, letting go, rest, and slow living, right? Like, these cycles in our lives are literally indicated by the lunar progressions. The next thing you got to look at is also when progressed planets are entering new signs. So for instance, when your progressed Venus being the planet associated with love, relationship, style, and beauty and aesthetics, when it enters a new sign, it's like your style evolves, your aesthetic changes. I remember when my progressed Venus was in Cancer, it was a lot of muted grays, greens, blacks, browns, very earthy. I was also in a time of minimalism in my outfits and my style. When my progressed Venus entered Leo about 2 years ago, complete style rehaul. My entire look changed. My preferences, what do I find beautiful? What do I find to be aesthetically pleasing? Pinks, bold, bright, Leo kind of quality in how I dress. So this goes with your Mercury, this goes with your Venus, your Moon, your Sun. When your progressed Sun changes, question of what do you want in life? What are you going after in life? It's like a whole different phase of life every 30 years when the Sun progresses into a new zodiac sign. When that happens, your entire goals and achievements and what you want out of life completely shifts. I remember I didn't like travel until my progressed Sun entered Gemini. That was when I got bit by the travel bug and I was obsessed with traveling the world. Before that, when my progressed Sun was in Taurus, I just wanted to stay at home all day. I didn't have any interest in traveling at all. This is why looking at those planets when they progress into new signs, very, very important. And this brings me to my next point, which is Mercury. Now, Mercury retrogrades, you'll find it at some point in your life. Mercury will retrograde in the progress chart. It will be there for a while. The thing about Mercury and any other planet is when it stations or retrogrades, you're going to want to keep in mind the year that Mercury stations retrograde and stations direct in your chart. There's going to be a vibe shift, a vibe change. When Mercury's retrograde, there is a slowdown of communication, expression, thinking, all of that. Noting when planets retrograde and station direct and station retrograde in your progress chart is going to be really indicative of slowing up, slowing down as well. Now, these retrogrades and stations, they're not nearly as important as the progressed moon in the zodiac sign as well as the lunar progressed phase. Those two things I just mentioned are the most critical, most important things to keep in mind with your secondary progressions. thing to look at with your secondary progressions is your secondary progressed lunar return. Lunar being the moon, and the return of your progressed moon is kind of a coming home moment for you in life. What do you need for safety? What do you need to feel secure in your life? It's coming home back to your roots and really exploring what it is that you need to feel satiated and comforted and emotionally fulfilled in your life. This is also a time of taking care of yourself. And another thing, you always want to make sure that you are pulling up a bi-wheel. Your natal chart, your fixed birth chart in the middle, and then an outer wheel around it. Those are the progressions. So natal chart, progressions on the outside. And you can compare the progressed planets and where they are. Another thing that you can do is note where your progressed moon is going through, what house, what place it is moving through in relation to your birth chart. So let's say that you've got the progressed moon in Libra right now, and your Libra in your natal chart, your fixed Libra house, the sector of your chart that Libra is in your birth chart. Let's say your Libra placement in your birth chart's in the 12th house. So your progressed moon right now is going through your 12th house in your natal chart. So you see how we're comparing this phase of life of seeing where is the progressed moon in the chart? What area of life is this pertaining to? For example, let's say your progressed moon is transiting through your fixed 11th house in your natal chart, meaning there's going to be a lot more emphasis on friends, community, social interactions, and collaborations. Also connecting with your hopes and your dreams. Very much an 11th house topic. So when that progressed moon is going through that house, you're not only going to get a lot more of that sign placement of meaning what that means when your progressed moon is in that sign, but you're getting additional context by seeing what house is it transiting through your natal chart. So you always want to cross-reference the progressions to your fixed birth chart in the middle there. Bi-wheel. You can pull this up on a free website like astro.com or AstroSeek. I personally use Astro Gold for all of my timing techniques. I recommend Astro Gold if you want to get into zodiacal releasing, annual perfections, Fedaria, transits, all the things. And you can use my discount code Helena15 for 15% off at checkout. So if you want to get Astro Gold, use that code Helena15 for 15% off. It'll save you a pretty penny. All right, let's continue on with our tour of Paris. About progressions, I want you guys to remember that secondary progressions are a symbolic timing technique. They're showing your internal emphasis, your activations, your energetic focus on an internal level, except for one thing, the lunar progressions. The lunar progression, the lunar progress phase that you're in, are you in a first quarter? Are you in a third quarter? Are you in a full moon, new moon? That is really going to tell you a lot more to the story about what are the results that you're getting in your life. Are you getting the results with your career, or are you in a slowdown period and not getting that yet? So we've talked a lot about progressions, and one of the coolest ways that you can incorporate this into your life is, you guessed it, through location, which is what I specialize in uniquely as an astrologer. Predictive timing techniques, where to be at the right time, right place. But also the location component, where in the world should you be? And the cool thing with progressions and transits is you can use them on your map to see where the activation's happening in different parts of the world. This is using a timing technique called cyclocartography. You can learn all of this in my Relocation Astrology flagship program, the ultimate course where I teach you everything you need to know about how to read birth charts and relocation charts, how to read maps, and also how to time your travels using this technique. Also, if you haven't followed me over on Instagram, where I post daily updates every single day, new videos, what are you doing? Go check over my Instagram, Miss Helena Woods. I'll include the information down below.